Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Builders channel. Cedric here with yet another brew review, and today we are talking about another American beer. It is, after all, American Beer Week 2025 with all the gifts that I got from Robert and John again. Today we are talking Heady Topper, and this is one that I actually find fun. Haven't tasted it yet. But John did tell me that this was a staple beer by one of those breweries in Vermont. Apparently they started out in another place. I forgot the name, something with water. But this is the product of John and Jen Kimmick, who started a 60-seat brew pub and actually built it out to a full-blown brewery. Now they have two breweries, one at the first location, one in Stowe, just like the Antwerp brewery. And this beer is the one that started it all. Now, first off, let's talk about the can. It's very simple. It is just a naked can with a printed on logo label. It does say the Alchemist Vermont, and it is called Heady Topper. It has a caricature of someone drinking and their head exploding with hop bells. Now, I did read on their website that they wanted this to have a certain taste resembling Dank cannabis. And an IPA is of course the ideal beer to do that with, because the cannabis sativa, the cannabis plant, is very, very closely related to Humulus lupulus, being the hop plant. They are in fact like sisters. Another thing that this can tells me is very, very strongly drink from the can, and that has several reasons apparently. Now, first off, why use cans? You guys know that I am a big supporter of canned beer. Why? Because this is a tiny keg and it protects your beer from sunstrike, from oxygen, from all those things. Keeps your beer good quality for longer, so it extends the shelf life. But apparently John Kimmick from The Alchemist has several reasons to drink from the can. He says, first off, you keep the aromas inside, so the aroma don't the aromas are very volatile and you don't lose them while pouring them in a glass. I kind of follow him in that. But one of the main reasons that I saw him tell us in an interview is that they used to go out swimming in local natural pools, and he didn't want people to break glass there and get hurt, so he just advertises drink from the can. It's easier, it is way more safe and ecological and all that jazz. He also said if you don't want to drink from the can, pour it in a glass and like leave this much, but before you pour, it is unfiltered, it is unpasteurized, so it will be hazy. If you have this much left, drink that from the can and drink the rest from a glass. But he also said, as a disclaimer, don't go on, put it in the fridge way before, like 24 hours before, so it has a chance to settle, and don't go on handling the can too much to read everything. So I'm just gonna leave this straight up as is, and I'm gonna read the can to you guys, because as I always say, I can't word this better than the brewers themselves. So in this case, Heady Topper is an American double India Pale Ale. This beer is not intended to be the biggest or most bitter. It is meant to give you wave after wave of hoppy goodness on your palate. I can only support that. Tremendous amounts of American hops will creep up on you and leave you with a dense, hoppy finish in your mouth. So drinkable, it's scary. However, it is an 8% ABV, so we'll see how drinkable it is. And if it is, in fact, that drinkable, this is gonna be dangerous as hell. Sometimes I wish I could crawl right into the can. Freshness and control have always been my main concern when it comes to our beer. We are committed to providing you with an unfiltered, unpasteurized hop experience. Why do I recommend that you drink it from the can? Quite simply to ensure a delightful hop experience. The act of pouring it in a glass smells nice, but it releases the essential hop aromas that we have worked so hard to retain. He really has a point there, because if you want more aromas, you'll have to use more hops, and hop is a very expensive ingredient, so you will raise the price of your beer just for a gimmick. Yeah, not a fan of that. Let's keep it down. If you must pour it into a glass, you may find that some of the hop resins have settled to the bottom. Leave them in the can while pouring. This beer is perishable and at its best when it's young, fresh and hazy. Keep it cold but not ice cold, and drink this beer immediately. We are always making more. Yeah, it's a joke that brewers always make. IPAs are best when they are at their youngest. Drink them as fresh as possible. I do believe that Treehouse also puts that on their cans, and they are very, very right in doing so. But yeah, we are always brewing more. I also mentioned that the Heady Topper is the one that started it all for this brewery. They started out in 2003, I believe. And I did see that they make a, or used to make, I don't know if they still make it, but a 20th anniversary version of this. So another one that I'm very curious about. So this review is gonna be slightly different than others. I am gonna open the can first. I'm gonna get that aroma. I am gonna have a taste, and afterwards I'll be pouring it into a glass. So the look and pour will be later on. Just bear with me. It all has reasons. So let's go for it. That's hop for you. A lot of hop. Quite resiny. Quite piney. It smells rather floral and bitter as well. Okay, high hopes. Here we goes. Goodness gracious. Yeah, it's like chewing on a pine tree branch. And I do mean this in the most lovable way possible. If you guys have been following me for a while, and we're almost at 500 videos, so it has been a while, you might know that I really like resin, I like pine, I like American IPAs in general, which I found out last year. Again, thanks to Robert and John. But yeah, very nice. They do say we don't want this to be the most bitter. However, it is quite bitter. Yeah, very resiny, very hoppy, very astringent as well. I do get like goosebumps because of the bitterness. I do get that reflex. It really settles on the glands. It makes me salivate. So I think like a quarter of this would be a fantastic aperitif before the meal, because it gets your stomach juices flowing as well. Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. And I think this is a beautiful combination of an old English bitter IPA and a very modern American double IPA. So yeah, nice. However, I am gonna defy John Kimmick's questions or demands because, hey, I'm a rebel. I'm totally not a rebel. But I am gonna pour this in a glass just out of curiosity because I do want to see what it looks like. Right off the bat, I can tell you that this is paler and lighter than I expected. I am leaving some in the can as well. I tried not to move it too much, so. But yeah, this does look unfiltered. Very, very active. A lot of swirling going on, a lot of bubbling. Nice pale yellow, nearing to orange. Let's call it a dark yellow color. And I do hear the contradiction in what I say. It is pale yet dark at the same time. Nice, slightly off-white foam, mixed density, some large bubbles on top, tiny, tiny bubbles on the bottom. Very typical. I do have high expectations for the foam stabilities with this amount of hop in this beer. What could possibly go wrong? And this is exactly what John says about pouring it in a glass. You get this sudden boost of aroma and then it dissipates quickly. It's very volatile, and unless you have a specialized glass, let's say like a teku glass for example, which is formed to keep the aromas inside, you will lose a bunch of the aromas on the pour or right after the pour. So he makes a really valid point, and especially with IPAs, aroma is essential. So, by the way, visit their website, watch the video. He does make a very good case on it. It's a 6-minute video. Everyone should watch that. Yeah, very, very bitter. They don't say which hops they used, but I am going out on a limb here, and I would say there's a bunch of Amarillo in here, at least. But I don't think that they only used one hop. I think they used a combination of at least 3 hops, for example. Yeah, this is really so bitter, and you guys know that I like my IPAs bitter and dry, and this is exactly that. So Robert, John, the other John, you did it again. My God. And I do get the brewer's idea of having a dank cannabis flavor. Of course, this is all hearsay, so I've been told. But this does resemble that flavor, and that is another flavor that I actually like. I would love to know the IBUs on this one. Fun thing is that the after flavor is rather different. It is, as usual, it is also bitter, of course. It follows the flavor of the beer, but it is, as usual, a bit more mellow, but a bit more vegetal in a pleasant way. A lot of carbon dioxide, but it's like a more vegetal, a bit more, a way more herbal version of the beer. So I get the idea that in the initial flavor, we are blown away by that, as he says, wave after wave of hops, hoppy goodness. But in the after flavor, we get the chance to really savor all the aromas, all the flavors that the beer has, and it does have a nice herbal, a slightly peppery aftertaste, which is another thing that I really love. So Jesus flippin' Christ. Okay, I'm gonna have to take my time to empty this, which I would willingly do, but off camera, the only thing that is left for me now is to score this beer. What is the verdict? Looks nice, even though I'm not supposed to see it. Not love, but like the can. I mainly like the idea of the brewer. I like the name as well, Alchemist. I always had a knack for that. Aroma wise, whew, sheesh. Flavor wise, dang. Pretty high up there in IBUs, lovely after flavor. So easy, a 4? Yeah, 4 out of 5. Or maybe even 4.25. Let's make it 4.25. Yeah, 85%. That is absolutely deserved for this beer. I can tell you this will not be everyone's favorite, but that is why we have thousands of different beers in the world, or even just here in Belgium. But this is one that I definitely like, or even love. So yeah, Robert, John, thank you so much. Love this. You did it again. That all being said, if you like this video, leave a comment down below, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you'll get notified whenever I upload something, which should be quite a lot this year. And I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.